Hi guys, T here. Sorry for the week-long or so silence. I've been very, very sick lately. Like dizzy, in bed, sweating, running back and forth to the bathroom. Just, you don't want to know kind of stuff. Been very tired, very sickly. Uh, Trouble finding any food that I can keep down, that kind of stuff. But it's been a week, and I feel a little bit better. Sucks that my YouTube channel is all about me talking, so when I get sick I can't do anything. I've got like 3 game reviews to do. I'm gonna do a review of Torchlight 2, Tomb of Tyrants, and I'm working on something else right now as well. There is stuff coming. I just have to wait for my strength, for my voice to come back for the most part. And I have a habit of getting sick when the seasons change, like when fall starts coming, all that pollen, or when it goes from winter to spring. I get one really nasty cold like twice a year, just like clockwork. So it's probably an allergen, something like that, that's in the air right now. But God, I caught a nasty bug this time. So, to give you something to tide you over, I printed out a bunch of your all's questions and thought I would do a new mailbag today, and then I'm gonna go probably sit on the couch for the rest of the day. And Bree got us a DVD of the old Puppet Master movies, so I'm probably gonna sit and watch Puppet Master. But let's get right into the questions. From Keegan Johnson. What is your favorite core race in Pathfinder? I guess human, because they get more skill points, I think, or more. Do they get an additional feat? I forget. If I'm sick and I say something weird, don't mind it. V the Geek 5 Me asks, you said Bree was your fiance. When did you propose? About 3 weeks ago. There's a little bench downtown by the river where we always sit. We've got like McDonald's, or we're shopping downtown. We always stop to rest there. So it's got a bunch of happy memories for us, and I thought it would be really nice to propose to her there. I took her out for a bunch of window shopping to like all her favorite little stores. Most of the stuff here is local. There's not really any chains. So I took her to her favorite art supply store, her favorite, used DVD and video game store. And, I would have taken her to like a fancy restaurant, but I wanted the element of surprise. So when we went to rest at our favorite bench by the water, by the watching the ducks and stuff, I proposed to her there. So she was thrilled, of course. So we are officially engaged. As far as when the wedding might be, I'm hoping for like June-ish, because God knows Minnesota winters are 6 months long. Let's see. From at Loranalt. Did you know there's a Pathfinder MMO out there? No, I didn't know that. It's currently being worked on. Apparently it's really, really bad, but I'm gonna download it and see what the fuzz is about. Good luck, sir. I'm of the school of thought that D&D and tabletop games do not make for very good video games, just because the concepts don't translate well. I mean, I'm a big fan of Fire Emblem and, Final Fantasy Tactics and other, like, grid-based games, but D&D not so much. I think Grimrock would be about as close as you could come to where it's got good production values and still holds to a system like that. Unless, like, every time you stopped in front of a monster, it gave you, like, digital dice and you could grab it with your mouse and throw it. That'd be fun. Armillo does that with D6s, so I guess it wouldn't be too hard as long as I could actually throw the dice and watch them and stuff. I don't like, I don't like Neverwinter Nights and stuff that just like runs all the numbers in the background where you can't see them. Don't like that very much. From Jan Plua, where did you get that cloak, the one you had at the Ren Fair? There's a shop at the Minnesota Ren Fair called Hats and Cloaks, and I got my cloak there. It was very expensive. Bree got it for me for an early birthday present because my birthday is on October 21st, but by then I think the Ren Fair will probably be over. Or no, I think it goes up through the last weekend of October, but it would have been pretty cold by then. It's already starting to turn autumn here. We wanted to go on a nice day, so she got me a cloak. I'll probably wear the cloak for D&D stories and stuff. That'll be fun. So it doesn't sit in a closet and gather dust. From Jeremy D. Are you from Minnesota? Yes, I am. Well, I live in Minnesota. I'm from Kentucky. After I graduated from college, I moved to Minnesota to be with my sweetheart, and like I said, we are now engaged to be married. Do you have any active D&D campaigns going on right now? Yes, I'm doing the Iron Heart of Innis with the guys over at Tabletop Terrors, and you can check them out just like in the YouTube search bar up there. Just type Tabletop Terrors, just how it sounds, and they have a pretty nice channel. From Earth Virgo 4110. Is TheWriter a teacher? I think he is, but I'm not sure. I have the college trained know-how to be a teacher, but I am not licensed, so technically no. I could go take one college course, the out in the field college course where you shadow a teacher, and then I would complete, I guess, my second degree doing that, because I have a bachelor's in interdisciplinary studies, writing in English. So I guess technically I'm a teacher. I just am not licensed and have no desire to be a teacher anymore. You know, I pulled back enough curtains and saw all the ugly machines running the candy factory, and I was horrified and ran away. From Ninja Kirby, what is the teddy bear's name? Oh, the bear? Hang on. The teddy bear? Yes. My grandfather got this for me before I was born, and the first time he saw me, he gave it to me, and I have had it ever since. His name is just Bear. I think my grandfather just called him, here's his bear, so they just named him Bear. He's got this is kind of cute. He's got I don't know if you can see it, a little brown stain where his mouth should be. That's from me trying to feed him chocolate when I was really little. From Zokarar. T, have you kidnapped my teddy bear? Because it looks very similar to mine. Yes, Power Rangers, and if you ever want to see him again, you'll deliver the green power coin to me. From Discord. Do you actually have arachnophobia, or is that just an RP thing for you? Yes, I have extraordinary arachnophobia for several reasons that I'll outline here. When I was a kid, and I would play outside a lot because my parents owned a rather large plot of land, I had a place to keep all of my outside toys, my soccer ball, my kickball, jump rope, my bike, all that kind of stuff. Imagine like a dumpster shape on its side, but made of wood, like really thick, rain-resistant wood. Up in the lip there became a we just called them daddy long legs. I forget what the spiders are actually called, but they're these tiny spiders with these huge long spindly legs. We called them daddy long legs. They're too small, I think, to physically bite you. Like your skin is too tough for them, so they can't do it. But one day I went in there and I must have disturbed a nest or something, like grabbing my bike, and a whole like rain of daddy long legs from this like colony came down and landed on me, and I wigged the fuck out, and that must have scarred me for life because I could always feel their little legs crawling all over my hair and my skin. Dropped a colony of daddy long legs on myself and just flailed all over the yard, freaked our dog out and everything. Some years later, I forget what they're called, God, because I don't like to know things about spiders because they're scary enough as it is. A spider bit our husky chow chow mix dog, like directly on the chest, and this particular spider's venom destroys flesh. He basically had a giant gaping wound. We had to take him to the vet, and they had to like stretch this poor animal's skin back over itself and give him all kinds of medicine, and just there was mucus and pus and all kinds of horrible stuff that this tiny spider, I'm sure somebody will know what it is, but this tiny bite became like a 3x8 opened flesh wound, and this dog could have died easily. So that became like another scarring spider related event for me. And you guys have seen my reactions in the Let's Play Legend of Grimrock videos, how I react to spiders. Yeah, it's well ingrained, well down in the depths of my childhood psyche to be frightened of anything with 8 legs. Like even like in high school and stuff, when we were studying different portions of the animal kingdom, I couldn't like put my hands on pictures of spiders. It's like the guy who's afraid of heights who won't walk across the glass bridge. It's secure, you know. You could drop a 200-pound weight on it from Kingdom Come and it would only crack, but he still doesn't want to cross it because it's there and stuff like that. So I am deeply programmed to fear spiders. That is not an RP thing for me. I mean, like, spiders in World of Warcraft don't scare me because they look ridiculous. And maybe the graphics aren't good enough or something, but just, like, no, I do my best to avoid them at all costs. From Brian Cubero. If your character Cryptbreaker James makes his living out of breaking into crypts, why would he be afraid of spiders? Well, I just named a few reasons that somebody might be afraid of spiders. They seem like an extremely common occurrence underground. I think maybe my reasoning was that Cryptbreaker James has created really nice crypts where, you know, if you seal something, it's sealed really well, like airtight. So you would have less decay, less smell, less parasites like rats, roaches, and spiders. So running into something large, and ettercaps are not really spiders, they're just spider-faced. So maybe that's closer to, maybe it's just like the mandibles and all the eyes. You know, it's very unsettling. From Spencer Fisher, you should do a how-to of D&D 5th edition, please. Well, I would, but not only do I not like 5th edition, but I don't fully understand it, so I know how to play a low-level cleric, and I know how to play a regular centrifuge rogue, but I didn't participate in the what was it? The fine adjustment events, the pre-releases, you know? I'm not fond of the character sheet layouts, the lack of magic items, the lack of, you know, pricing things correctly. I would probably turn any sort of review I have into like a rant against all the things I hate. So it wouldn't be it would be an opinionated review and not a balanced review, because I'm a 3.5 baby, and 3.5 is what I enjoy. So that's why I liked Pathfinder so much, and 4th edition became World of Warcraft, and now 5th edition is stripped down and meant to be played over Skype. And yes, I know grids didn't get introduced until relatively midlife in D&D's history, and you were meant to play Theater of the Mind before, but maps were a big part of my upbringing, and now that they're not there anymore, just stuff like that, I couldn't do it justice. In other words, I'm not experienced enough nor balanced enough to do something like that. Sorry, Spencer. Sorry. The Cribbit Gaming says, T, will you be going to GaryCon this year? It would be awesome to meet you. It's the last weekend in March in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. Well, that's only a few hours from where I live, so I might look into it. GaryCon, for those that don't know, is a convention for gaming and lots of playing gaming, not just like going and buying stuff, but a lot of space is set aside for them to play games, whether it be D&D, Pathfinder, Warhammer, Civil War, X-Wing Commander, stuff like that. Lots and lots and lots of table space. And they have celebrities, writers from Knights of the Dinner Table, etc., etc. I've watched plenty of videos of the stuff they do. It seems really nice. As far as me attending, I'm not really a convention kind of guy. I was once, and this is, yeah. For those that don't know, that I am a brony. I enjoy the My Little Pony show very much. I am also known under the pseudonym of Aegis Shield, and I am one of the premier, like, cream of the crop fan fiction writers on their main site called FimFiction, where I wrote things like The Return of Princess Nightmare Moon and Twilight and the Spartan Stallion, Seeing the Pattern. I wrote a lot of pony for a long time just because I needed to keep my writing skills sharp while I wasn't playing D&D, or after I wrote Cyranox the Feared. It's like sharpening your sword. It's like playing Sudoku. It just became habit after a while to make, and, you know, being that I went to school to be a literature teacher, I had to keep the skills sharp, so I did My Little Pony fan fiction for a while, and I became so quote-unquote famous, on this site at least, as Aegis Shield, that I was invited to a convention to sit on a writer's panel, and I couldn't do it because it was BabsCon. So that was what, LA? I think. It was in a city very far away from me, but it would have been like $1,000 to get a plane ticket, to get a hotel, to get food, to get a plane ticket back, etc., etc. And my stepmother, Cheryl, whom I told it was a writer's panel and not a My Little Pony writer's panel, sent me a $1,000 check because she thought it was awesome that my writing had become so good I was being recognized for it, so I couldn't in good conscience take it and then mention to her at the last second that, oh, by the way, this isn't my stuff, it's My Little Pony fan fiction. So I've been to conventions, and I almost went to that one to sit on a writer's panel. I've been to RV and boating conventions. I've been to, gosh, what was that other one? A theater convention once, like theater troupe stuff with prop makers, painters, stuff like that. But I've not yet been to a gaming convention, and I guess you could count a Renaissance fair as a convention because it's medieval themed fun and stuff like that. That's more of a festival, I guess. I don't know. I'll look into it. Like, I've never been to like a convention where you need like a badge and no, you may not take photographs here and stuff like that, where there's like celebrities walking around. Because I actually went to the Gary Con website and looked at their lists of celebrities. I was like, don't know that person, don't know that person, don't know that person. Just scrolling down, I was like, I don't know any of those names. Like, I didn't expect them to bring, freaking George R.R. Martin or anything, because this looks like, on the grand scale of things, GaryCon looks like a smaller convention because it's been around for 8 years and it's mostly for just playing games. But it looks rather large from the perspective of how many games are being played, but like there's no superstar celebrities or anything like that wandering around. I would feel kind of bad if I ran into these people and had no idea who they were. Or went in and like I watched a bunch of footage of people playing games at GaryCon 7 of doing like Civil War stuff, Warhammer stuff, people selling Dwarven Forge castles and things like that. And to be perfectly honest, from the printer and all that stuff, you guys know I live paycheck to paycheck, so it would probably not be a good idea for me to go there because I wouldn't be able to buy anything and I'd feel bad just going, oh, that's nice, can I film this? Oh, that's really cool, can I film this? Most people don't like that. They're trying to actually sell you stuff, so I would go, but I wouldn't know what to do with myself. It's like Vegas before you're 21. You could go and it would be cool to look at, but what would you do? You can't drink, you can't gamble. What else? So I guess the short answer is no, probably not. From Bruno Franco, T, have you ever played Burning Wheel? I have not. But I saw the most explosive game falling apart I've ever seen because of Burning Wheel. This could become a D&D story at this point, but I'll shorten it for you. My friend David put together a Burning Wheel game and got 4 of our buddies to play it, and myself and a couple other people were playing Smash Brothers Brawl in the same room. It was like a great room. So they were over there playing Burning Wheel. We were playing Smash Brothers. David made the mistake of, I call it the mine mistake, because he did his research and then he said, okay, I want you all to create a character who want this, well, I think it was like a magic sword or something silly like that. And I want you all to make characters who have a legitimate claim on this magic sword. So one person said it was their family heirloom, one person was hired to steal it, one person wanted to destroy it because they disapproved of the forms of magic that were woven in its blade, and on and on. So the 4 of them, once they had recovered said sword, they got into like a really loud, really violent argument about who should be taking this blade home. Should it be disenchanted? Should it be destroyed? Should they throw it into the sea? Should they take it back to the family who created it? It's her heirloom. And it started getting personal and it started getting real. and dice started getting thrown, and papers started getting ripped up, and everybody went home mad. Super, super mad. And David was just sitting there like, what just happened to my game? And I'm over there playing Brawl, like trying to listen with my friend, and we're like, I'm glad I'm not over there. I'm glad I'm not over there either. Because it got loud and personal. Like, somebody must have said something like that, like rubbed somebody the wrong way, or something that came across as racist or something weird, because it quickly turned from in character to out of character. And I'm surprised a fist fight didn't break out, because they were freaking screaming at each other over this Burning Wheel game. So no, I have not played Burning Wheel, but I have sure as hell witnessed Burning Wheel, and it just about ruined 6 different friendships. Not that I wouldn't give it a chance, it's just that's the only contact I've ever had to come into it with it. From Cole to Guide. Duguid? Duguid. Duguid. Hey T, I know you had a hard time with WoW, but do you have any more WoW stories? Yeah. Yeah, I have a ton of WoW stories. I could probably do a couple of those. There has been a slight hiccup in the Iron Heart of Innis campaign, so I'll probably do a few just random discussion videos for you guys. But yeah, I can throw a WoW story in there in the meantime. From Boo-Asaurus. Hey T, I was wondering if you've seen the Rage of Demons launch trailer over on the Dungeons and Dragons channel. It looks pretty awesome. Yes, I have. It's kind of spooky looking. And yes, I have the Rise of the Rune Lords book and the Horde of the Dragon Queen campaign book, though that campaign is 2 books. It should have been 1 book, but it's 2 books because they want to charge you more money. I don't often run modules because that's all somebody else's material, and I feel like I have to study, like a lesson plan almost. Pathfinder is very good about breaking it up into chapters, so like session-sized chapters. D&D not as much, but I feel like I have to study. If people ask me a question about a certain character, I gotta look, things like that. I like to make up my own stuff, because then I can just like have my own continuity in my head. That feels like a lot of extra work. I mean, if I knew somebody who wanted this book, Rise of the Rune Lords, I'd say, hey, run this campaign for me. I'll give you the book. I would totally do it. Then again, Rise of the Rune Lords, I think, goes from level 1 to level 18, 20. It's a huge campaign. But I would definitely play it if I had somebody to run that for me. It's just I don't like running stuff out of books. From Anthony Thompson. Hey T, are you into horror games? Yes, but only a very particular type of horror. I'm not into like the jump scare games, like the YouTube actor games, where stuff pops out and screams and you've got a camera on you while you play it. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm not into Resident Evil. I'm not into anything gory, anything loud. I'm into more psychological horror. I'm into Silent Hill, Darkfall the Journal, Black Mirror. Well, Black Mirror, if anybody out there has a computer that can fucking run it anymore, because it was just formatted so strangely. Black Mirror was a point-and-click adventure. It was a very long, like, spooky mansion plus hospital plus village. Talk to all the people, learn all the clues. The forbidden family history, Call of Cthulhu, fear what you cannot see sort of story. Black Mirror was very good. I did get swept up in Five Nights at Freddy's for a while, but I realized, I don't really want to be into that because everybody else is, and I can't really bring anything new to the table if I were to play it for you guys or anything. I really liked Eternal Sonata, Sanity's Requiem. I really liked... trying to think. Those are really my main ones. Silent Hill, Darkfall, and Black Mirror were my main three. So I like atmospheric horror, I like quiet horror. I like horror where you can't die, but you still feel suppressed, you know? I have... Do I have it up here? The Penumbra collection was really good. I never got very far in Memento Mori, but that's probably not really meant to be horror. That's more of a mystery game. So yes, I do. I'm just really, really, really picky. From Dylan Perkins. Hey T, I was wondering if you've ever seen odd race choices for classes, like a vampire paladin or some race without eyes that is a ranger. Well, first of all, vampire's not a race, it's a template. You can become a vampire. It's like saying undead dragon or rock golem. It's an adjective, not a noun. As far as I just got a text. As far as a ranger without eyes, there's lots of animals out there that hunt by scent and by sound, so I'm sure that's possible. If you haven't seen these, I was wondering if you would do a video listing some very strange racial choices for D&D or Pathfinder classes that would either make roleplay more interesting or make sense, but people just wouldn't think of them. Thanks for your time and consideration. Well, really, the sky's the limit for that, because, like, the core, 7 races? Let's see, humans, elves, dwarves, gnomes, halfling, half-orc. I think that's all of them. I think that's it. The core 6 or 7 races are what show up in most campaigns, but sometimes there can be, a minotaur, an ogre. D&D, at least in 5th edition, came with something called a level adjustment. And if a monster had a level adjustment, it means you could play as that monster. So, I think baby dragons, you could play as a baby dragon, and they had a level adjustment of 10. So, the first 10 levels of playing as a baby dragon, you could only be a baby dragon. You couldn't have class levels because they were so powerful. Or if you were going to play as a doppelganger, I think doppelgangers have a level adjustment of 4 or 5, somewhere in there, because they can transform into anybody. Or minotaurs have I think a level adjustment of 3 or 5, somewhere in there, because they have horns, they can charge and gore, and they have monster strength at their beck and call. Or golems, you can play as a golem. Golems can't be poisoned or sneak attacked, so they have a level adjustment based on their size and weight. I don't know. You could be a golem bard. Golem with a singing voice. Of course, Torchlight did that. They have a robot bard. So who knows? As far as have I heard any? Yeah, there's tons out there. A lot of people I saw played as fox people, raven people, Cenobites. We had somebody play as a Cenobite for some reason. Plenty of drow in unusual jobs like bard or lore master. As far as really strange things like races people don't play as, you often just don't see them because they don't fit the story. Seen a few half giants, dark hill deep earth dwarves, basically dwarves with black skin and red eyes. Not really. Most of the time I just see people using the core races, and exotic classes are the main thing. Is that if you play as a really strange race, then it becomes harder to go into town and buy things or convince do diplomatic stuff, buy, you know, ale, food, and wenches at the end of the day, that kind of stuff, where if you're just a strange race, people might not sell things to you, might not want to talk to you. In fact, a lot of the monster races suffer like a -10 to diplomacy when speaking with one of the core races who doesn't know you when you're trying to get something from them. Haven't seen a ton myself, but it could be an interesting topic. From Pikmin100X. Have you ever heard of Guild of Dungeoneering? I have, and I'm gonna play it soon. It's a roguelike where you build your own dungeon and send heroes through it to see what they do. It's really cool. From 90757. And yes, Senpai has noticed you. I'd like to see your review of Darkest Dungeon. What do you think of it? I think Darkest Dungeon is still in early access. It's a, for those that don't know, it's a Call of Cthulhu, Spooky Mansion, The Darkest Depths of the Earth, roguelike. And you guys know that I am not a fan of roguelikes, but I am very much a fan of this art style and all the interesting, like I said, deepest secrets of the dark earth, the abyss looks back at you, Cthulhu tentacles, all that kind of stuff. Big fan of that stuff, so maybe that would help placate me to playing another roguelike. But yes, I'm very interested, and I'm watching Darkest Dungeon with a very close eye to see when it comes out of early access. I know it's supposedly very good now, but I've been burned by several early access games that just either don't come out or take months and months and months to come out, and by then they're either no longer relevant or they're not the same game anymore. So I will wait until its official release, 90, and then I will probably play the crap out of it and then review it. From Anonymous. Hey T, how come you don't review more AAA titles like Witcher 3, Skyrim, or whatever happens to be coming out here and now? I noticed that a lot of the games you play are basically $10 cheapo games on Steam. Well, like I said, I kind of live paycheck to paycheck, so I can't really afford these giant, like, $60 AAA titles. I own a Wii U, so not a lot of serious games on that. Most of these AAA titles are on the Xbox, the PS4, etc., etc. I own a Wii U and a PC. And another reason is that, when Skyrim came out, everybody reviewed it. When Witcher 3 came out, everybody was all over it. But, who's ever heard of Tomb of Tyrants? Who's ever played Rollers of the Realm? I like to think that people sometimes like to watch my channel because I'm looking at these bite-sized games that are from smaller developers that still follow, like, the fun fantasy theme that maybe they've never heard of or they never would have looked at if not for my reviews. I mean, when the next Elder Scrolls comes out, I'm sure everybody will be all over it, but I wouldn't review it because why should I? Why would I? You already know it's going to be good, so why bother reviewing it, Like, I reviewed the Divinity series, Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity, etc., etc., because Dragon Commander came out and everybody loved it. And it became like a big hit, but it was a prequel to a much older series that started in 2002. And I was like, well, I could go back and just see what all this is about. And it kind of became like my thing for a while. And so I reviewed it because I'd never heard of it. I mean, everybody knows about, like, Spoonie over at the Spoonie Experiment reviews Final Fantasy games because he can poke fun at them, but everybody's reviewed Final Fantasy. Everybody's reviewed Skyrim. Everybody's reviewed, Super Mario Maker or whatever you want to, that's like on the cutting edge right now. I'm more akin to, I don't want to say cheaper, but smaller games that don't take 100 hours to play through. I like, start, have fun, finish it. If it's like Kingdom Rush, get all the achievements, stuff like that, and then try something new. I don't like to linger on my games as much as I used to. I don't know why. Maybe I just want to try different experiences, because the examples you gave, Skyrim and The Witcher, are like 100-hour, 200-hour, 300-hour games. And if I wanted to do a review of them, I would have to get a review copy, which I'm not big enough to get. I would have to play it non-stop for a while. I have a day job. I have a fiance. I take care of the yard and the house and stuff like that, so I don't actually have time to do these huge games. If it was my job, I would certainly love to do that, but I prefer smaller games that are more fun than to do as reviews, than huge games that, I'm not a 5 bazillion subscriber channel, so I don't have the monies or the means to do giant games like that, at least not in any timely fashion. So you get what I mean. I'd rather do smaller games that are fun and quirky than big games that everybody's doing reviews of. And finally, from Ragnaros 1001, what if an umbral blot goes into a sphere of annihilation or another blot? An umbral blot, for those that don't know, is basically a sphere of annihilation from D&D, which if you touch it, you burst into ash, and the ash gets sucked in, and then you cease to exist. So you can't be resurrected, you can't be brought back, except by the will of a god. And an umbral blot is basically a sphere of annihilation with a mind of its own. It moves around, it has intent, it can kill people because it wants to, rather than because it's an object. And I did a bit of reading Ragnaros 1001, and to the best of my ability that I can extrapolate, if a sphere of annihilation and an umbral blot were to touch each other, the umbral blot would win, because it would suck the sphere of annihilation into itself, which sounds weird, a black hole sucking a black hole into itself, but hear me out. Spheres of annihilation, by all technicality, are a magical object. They're an incredibly dangerous magical object, but they can be moved with some difficulty by a witch, wizard, sorcerer, etc., with a high enough spellcraft check. And there are actually rods of annihilation that are meant to help you move spheres of annihilation around, and that's all they do. They give you like a plus 20 to your spellcraft when trying to move a sphere of annihilation. Because it's an outrageous number. It's like 57 or something weird like that. To use your force of will to move a sphere of annihilation however you please. And you have to be very careful, because if you fail, it can go in a random direction and, into you or one of your allies or into the landscape and start sucking things in. But by pure force of will, it can be moved like any other sphere-shaped object. An umbral blot is classified as an assassin-type otherworldly creature, an assassin of the gods. These are sent by the eldritch entities of the dark to carry out nasty assassinations. And because of this, they must be given orders, like a golem, like a soldier, and then sent out to perform said assassination in any way they please. And this also incurs destruction of objects. So, magic swords, castles, trees, sacred sites, holy people, whatever it happens to be. All they have to do is like rub up against it or touch it, and they get sucked in and turned to ash, annihilated, so they can't ever be retrieved or saved. Again, except by the will of a god. So, if an umbral blot were told to go and destroy a sphere of annihilation, it would give a spellcraft check to take it like into itself, and should it succeed, it would absorb the sphere of annihilation and destroy it. Now that sounds like the unstoppable force meeting the immovable object, but a sphere of annihilation has no will of its own, so it will not resist its own destruction. So there you go. That's kind of a complicated answer, but umbral blots have a will of their own, so they'll just eat the sphere of annihilation if they run into it. Now what happens when an umbral blot runs into another umbral blot? That's the roll of the dice, because if they try to like absorb each other, whoever has the higher grapple check, I guess? Not really. I guess if one of them gets a jump on the other, that's a different question altogether. Argue that in the comments below. What happens if two umbral blots run into each other? Because that would be like two white blood cells running into each other, or two... I don't know. I'm sick. I'm gonna go sit on the couch and veg out for a while. Wish me a speedy recovery, you guys. I've got like 3 game reviews and a bunch of discussions to do, and my voice is already starting to go out. So I'm gonna go sit and drink ginger ale and eat chicken soup and stuff, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.